Thank you, Anthony, and thank you all for plugging in this morning. I believe it's 10 o'clock somewhere, and it's got to be 10 o'clock right now. So we definitely want to welcome each and every one of you that are taking time to be on our call live today. My name is Bobby Spiegel. I'm the President and CEO for the Corona Chamber of Commerce, and I'm extremely pleased to be able to introduce our advocacy chair. In the chamber, we have different programs, different projects that we work on, but the board of directors has focused on, as a top priority, our advocacy outreach. And this is something that we take very seriously. It is very difficult to operate business just in general terms in the state of California because of many of the regulations and many of the new laws that are being introduced. We know that most businesses could not afford to have someone keeping up to date on this whole program. So with that, what we have done is decided to shortcut things for you and provide you an opportunity every week to get updated on what's going on. And with that, we have a chair that is handling our entire advocacy. Jeff Miller is our chair for 2022, and he is handling the advocacy outreach as our chair. And he is a former state assembly member working up in Sacramento, working with many different legislators, decision makers, policy makers. Prior to that, he was an elected city council member and served on our city council in Corona as the mayor. And he also all along had been running his own business. So he understands what each of us are going through on a daily basis, how difficult it is, in addition to just operating business, but how to navigate through all the stuff coming down from Sacramento, as well as Washington, D.C. So with that, gives me a great deal of honor to turn it on over today to Jeff Miller. Jeff, take it away.
Thank you, Bobby. I appreciate that kind introduction. It's an honor to be your legislative action chair. And here we go again. As we go into our program today, just let's keep everybody in Ukraine lifted up in prayers and keep them in our thoughts. So it's still going on, and we hopefully we can get an end to this like as soon as possible. With that, I'm going to announce today's sponsor, which is Fresh Fitness Eastvale. I think they're somebody trying to tell me something. They are a meal prep delivery service that offers many varieties of healthy and tasty meals. They believe that you shouldn't have to sacrifice taste for health, or vice versa. Food should simply be healthy and delicious. I agree. They have food options available for every diet type and are extremely affordable. Thank you, Fresh Fitness Eastvale, for sponsoring this event. Hopefully I'm not going to put Paul Bender on the spot, but our chair of the board is on the line. I'd like to just throw it over to her to say hi. But before we do that, I just want to remind everybody that you can use the little chat button on the bottom of the screen to send any questions or messages in that you want. Paul Bender?
Good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for joining the call. It's a pleasure to be here.
Is that it?
Well, I did have another thought, and I didn't have a chance to discuss it with Bobby yet, but at our strategic session, our board had identified that we want to ensure that more Corona businesses are awarded City of Corona contracts. So we know it's a complex area, but we really want to empower and capacity build with our local businesses. So I was just going to put a call out there. If any of you on the call or know of companies who have bid for city council contracts or are interested in doing so, could you please have them reach out to us, either myself or Bobby. And if you have experience or any feedback that you'd like to share, please do that as well, or collect that on their behalf. we really want to look at this whole area and enable our companies to take advantage of the business that's on their doorstep.
Hi, it's Elizabeth. I'm wondering if there's an opportunity for a Chamber City workshop on the criteria of being a business working with municipalities, because it may not just be Corona. And I don't, obviously, Corona businesses working in Norco or Eastvale would be advantageous.
Of course. That's a great
Absolutely.
idea. We can definitely, I know we meet regularly with the City of Corona Economic Development Department to look at upcoming seminars. So thank you, Elizabeth, for that suggestion. I know Stephanie's on the call and is making notes. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Thank you, Paul Bender. Now I'd like to introduce Stephanie Shapiro, Vice President of Communications Extraordinaire. Take it away, Stephanie.
Thank you, Jeff. Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to touch on a few exciting things we have happening here at the Chamber this coming a few weeks. On Tuesday, April 5th, we have a fast pitch competition that we are co-hosting with the City of Corona. This is for Riverside County Innovation Month, and we have businesses that are going to pitch their business idea, their innovation. Some are existing businesses and some are just starting out, but it's a fast-paced, exciting look at entrepreneurship and innovation in our area. So we are still accepting applications through tonight. 5 p.m. is the deadline. It's a one-page application, so super easy. If any of you on the call are planning on applying or know somebody who should apply, please send this to them right away. Anthony's putting the link in the chat now, but also just for those who are interested, you can come and spectate live. There will be a surprise opportunity for participation that we're hoping to incorporate into this competition that's happening next week. So we'd love to see you all there. It's at City Hall, 3 o'clock, and we'll also be streaming live on ours and the city's social media channels. So hopefully you guys can check that out and participate in the first of what will be many exciting things during Innovation Month. Following that, we will be hosting, again, another co-sponsored program with the City of Corona, Coffee with an Entrepreneur. Our featured speaker in April is David Prado. He is a new entrepreneur and he is a guru in the area of TikTok. So we're really excited to bring a young up-and-comer to the table to talk about his journey, you know, where he is now, and just have that that open dialogue Q&A between him and our audience. It's sure to be a great day. And that's at 8 a.m. on the 11th, free to attend here at the Chamber office and streaming live on our Facebook channel as well. Later on in the month of April, we will be hosting a seminar about health and wellness for entrepreneurs. This is something that I think a lot of times people don't pay as close attention to, because as the business owner, ultimately you're responsible for everything, right? And your health and wellness sometimes takes a back seat because you spend 15, 18 hours a day on your business. So I'd like to have a quick video played sharing about from one of our speakers.
Hi, I'm Conrad Padilla, and this is my wife, Jill Padilla from Corona, California. We're really excited on April the 19th from 12 to 1 at the Corona Chamber of Commerce. We're going to be going over taking your health to another level. We're going to be addressing things like sleep issues, stomach issues, stress issues. You know, should you be exercising on a consistent basis to reduce your chances of disease and help your immune system and things like that?
We hope to see you all there.
Thank you, Anthony, for playing that. So we have 4 speakers that day. You just saw from our first 2. So we'll be sharing those subsequent videos with you as the weeks go on. Free to attend in partnership with the city. So hopefully we see you on the 19th. And Anthony just dropped that link in the chat. And the final thing I wanted to announce to you today is about the State of the City address at Good Morning Corona on Friday, April 22nd. This is also Earth Day, and we are excited to gather together once again at Eagle Glen Golf Club on this day to hear from our mayor. This is going to differ from his State of the City address that he's offering to the community at large. This one has a business focus, and he'll be open for Q&A as well. So Sponsorship and exhibitor tables are available, as well as individual tickets. They're on early pricing, and we hope to see you all there. So if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. I thank you all for your time and attention. And I would now like to introduce our Membership Development Coordinator, Robert Yanes, to talk about membership.
Thank you so much, Stephanie. And thank you all again for being on this call. If you're first time here and not a member, I'd love to chat with you and go over some of the amazing benefits that our nationally award-winning chamber has to offer, as well as if you are a current member and you have friends, vendors that you work with, or anybody that you think might get great benefit from our chamber, especially these great CCBBs that we put on every Wednesday. I'd like to give a quick shout out to one of the members who's on our call today, SJ. She's been a member of ours for a very short time, I believe 2 months now, and has already helped our chamber by referring 5 members that have joined. So we definitely appreciate you. We appreciate all of you who have continued to support our chamber. And I will turn it over to Tammy Harwick, our marketing and sponsorship specialist.
Thank you very much, Robert. And we're really excited about events that are coming up. We have our Good Morning Corona, like Stephanie mentioned, and we do have our golf tournament. We have a twilight celebration coming up with that as well, and taking donations for that. And we do have many ways to help you advertise your business and market your business that are very affordable. So definitely get a hold of myself or Robert to help with those items. And we can help you get out there in the community, in the newspaper, online, many other ways as well. And we thank you so much for being with us today and for being part of the chamber.
Thank you, Tammy.
Turn it back to you, Jeff.
Thank you, Tammy. Thank you, Robert. Thank you, Stephanie. And thank you, SJ. None of us could operate our businesses without referrals. So that's awesome. That's great. I'm going to kick it over to Jeff Gibson, our consultant, to give an update on his end. And then I'm going to probably go off agenda after he's done. I see we have the mayor online. I'd like to get a little update from him and a few others. And do some recognitions. So Jeff, for almost 35 years, Jeff has specialized in areas of political consulting, government affairs, communications. He owns his own company, like many of us, Occidental Communications Group. Over the years, I've had the opportunity to work with him, and I know he specializes in areas of transportation and housing, entitlement, environmental issues, and preservation issues. So with that, Jeff, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mr. Assemblyman. This morning, we have 2 bills to discuss, and then we are going to be discussing the federal budget that was proposed this week. We have 2 tax bills, and in fact, one was also introduced yesterday. We'll discuss that briefly because it was it was a very raw exercise of an assembly committee, just to show you how the gas tax issue is morphing up in Sacramento. So the first is we're going to be opposing AB 1771 by Assemblymember Ward, Democrat from San Diego. It's a tax on home sales. It would actually tax up to 25% of what would be considered profit on a home sale as measured by the purchase price versus the sale price, depending upon when you purchased your home. So if what it pitches, much like the billionaire's tax that is being pitched in Washington, D.C., that actually starts hitting taxpayers at $225,000 of business income. So if you or your family are making more than $225,000 a year, you are a billionaire, according to that bill. With this bill, if you sell your home, if you purchased a home and then sold it within 3 years, 25% of that profit would be going, 25% of the differential between your previous purchase price and your sale price would go to the state of California. So that is obviously a very large issue. You would not be able to take out any of the investment that you put into the property. There are very few exceptions. Let's say you bought a home and you were going to need to sell it because you were moving out of state. Although I know no one has ever moved out of state. People only move into California. So, and on top of all the other taxes that you would be paying, you'd be paying capital gains, you would be paying a number of different transactional taxes, you would have paid property taxes throughout the time. So the goal is to get at house flippers per se. Somebody apparently does not like HGTV. But that's one of the problems here, is that it lasts up until 7 years of ownership. So you don't get many house flippers that own property for 7 years, but you do get people that move up during that period of time. You put in a pool, or you do something to the house, you sell it, you move on to your next house. That is a very normal thing that people do. In California, up until about 10 years ago, most Californians stayed in their home for less than 5 years. That obviously has changed, but that is a significant number of people sell their homes within 7 years. So we're opposing that tax. The second we're opposing is SB 1301 by Senator Becker, Democrat from Menlo Park. And I don't know if anybody has gone out in the last month and a half to get gasoline, but I do want to issue a warning to you. I have noticed, and I haven't seen much of this online, but personally, I've noticed that the prices of gas have been going up. And I've noticed that 37 other states have suspended their gas tax and or use budget surpluses to pay down the amount of the increase that we are experiencing at the pump. Currently in the state of California, according to the Wall Street Journal, the average price of gasoline in the state of California is $5.95 a gallon. 6 weeks ago, it was $2.79. So in between those 6 weeks, we have been looking at the state of California has decided that the legislature has decided to look at numerous ways to tax oil production in the state of California. The state of California has oil reserves roughly equal to Venezuela. Up until the end of World War II, the Avila Beach was the world's most active oil port in the world, to give you an idea of how big the California oil industry was. And not to say that we want to go back to that, but just to give you an idea of how much oil we are actually talking about. And so in any case, this would be an oil tax on any business that is involved in any sort of production or the use of petroleum products in the production of their materials. So say you are a small you're a specialty pharmaceutical company in the Bay Area coming up with new pharmaceuticals, you need to use natural gas because a lot of pharmaceuticals are based upon the use of natural gas and petroleum. You would be paying this tax. And of course, we are here to go through the real world examples of how the world works in Realville. And that is one of the things that we would be looking at. So that's why we're opposed to SB 1301. Happy to take any questions that you might have.
Thank you, Jeff. We do have one question, and that is, which of our local assembly members voted in favor of continuing the gas tax?
So the it has come up 3 times before the state legislature, twice on the floor, asking for the setting aside of House rules. So the Assembly was in the midst of doing other work, and there was a vote taken specifically to take up the suspension of the gas tax. And our Assembly member did not vote either time to suspend the rules. So in the way that was proposed, you would have had to suspend the rules. You basically would have set aside the other business. And I know the business that they were considering of whether or not to rename a park after a local native bird was very, very important. The work that we're doing in the legislature in the month of March is extremely important. And Mr. Miller can tell you how important it is generally on a Tuesday in March when they have until August 31st to finish their job. So the debate was asked, a question was asked to set aside that ongoing simmering debate and take up a temporary suspension of the gas tax using the $65 billion surplus, and it failed. And Assemblymember Cervantes did not vote either way on that. It was not taken up in the Senate, and so in that attempt, it happened twice. Yesterday in committee, the sponsor of those first two attempts as a piece of legislation that would actually do the same thing, that would suspend the gas tax. The bill was hijacked in committee. While members of that committee from the majority promised that if the bill got out, they would co-sponsor the bill. The member actually even offered to take his name off of as the author and give the bill either to the committee or to any member of the committee that wanted to be the sponsor of the gas tax suspension. That move was refused. They voted against the bill. They then took the bill, amended it, and it is now it's an actual tax on end users of natural gas and petroleum. And so that's kind of the game that's been going on up in Sacramento right now that we're working with. So, but for the record, Assemblymember Cervantes and Senator Roth have not voted either way on the. Senator Roth hasn't been given the opportunity to vote on on setting aside of gas taxes, but Assemblymember Cervantes did not vote either way on the two attempts to set aside the rules.
Thank you, Jeff. There are no further questions.
Okay, moving on to the 2022 national budget proposal. You may have seen a lot of discussion, especially coming from the president on his budget proposal of $5.8 trillion. On this chart that you see here, you can see the growth over since 2000 to today of the actual budget itself, starting out in 2000 when there was a $237 billion surplus, which was at that point about 2% of the American economy, and came in just under $2 trillion. It has grown steadily since. It obviously shot up in 2020, 2021, and is proposed to come down slightly in 2022. Of course, there are several different proposals that the president has for greatly expanding off-budget spending. So, but this is just looking at the actual outlays as proposed currently. So that number should be substantially higher. The orange shows the growth in the budget. The current budget proposal would lower the annual deficit from just under $3 trillion. So that's what we're raising the deficit by every single year, from $3 trillion down to about 1.5 trillion, which would still make it one of the largest single year deficits in the history of the United States. And obviously we are not in any sort of health emergency or anything that would currently facilitate having a deficit like that. But this is a serious problem that we have, since we are in the midst of historic inflation. All signs show that we are going to probably be topping out in the mid-8s to the mid-9s for inflation, which would be a 20% growth month over month. And as we know, inflation is the lowering of the cost of money because we have increased the money supply. And so if you are going to be raising the deficit by $1.5 trillion, that is the equivalent of adding money to the economy, which is stoking inflation. So we looked in and thought, okay, well, how do we get a $1 trillion decrease in the overall deficit? Well, the president is presuming that this year, for all 12 months, we will have a maximum inflation rate of 2.3%. I'll say that again. As long as the inflation rate remains at 2.3% or lower, the president's budget the spending will actually be down. Obviously, that is not happening. The second is that future spending growth will actually not occur at a rate that is less than allowed. As you can see on the yellow bar here on the chart, and we would be happy to send this to you, those were the presumed and predicted Congressional Budget Office figures for spending over the next 2 years. And you could see that in both cases, they came in substantially higher. In 2021, obviously, there was a health emergency and a number of different contingencies, but that is the case. So Washington, D.C. always outspends the estimates, And the third item that they're presuming is starting almost immediately that there would be a complete reversal of the immigration trends, so that there would be a 25% decrease in net immigration, whether illegal or legal, in the United States, as well as an almost immediate 10% increase in the birth rate, in the birth rate of people that are already residents here in the United States. Neither of those things are trending that way. That would be a complete reversal of what the trends currently are. And then the fourth is a metric which has never been reached, which is 100% implementation and collection of new taxes as proposed. And so as long as those four things happen, then the deficit year over year would drop by $1 trillion, which leads us to all sorts of different questions. So happy to discuss that with you again, and any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Jeff. Anthony, anything on your end?
There are no questions.
So Jeff, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit. SJ on the call pointed out how that taxation bill, the 25% on homes, will specifically impact the military. Do you know, and if you don't, that's okay, do you know by chance if military is excluded or carved out of it?
No, they are not.
They're not. Okay.
They're not, and that has already been that has already been brought up. No, this has been labeled a job killer. It clearly is it's anyway.
Well, either
but
way,
military is not.
even if we did, we'd still oppose it. But maybe we know somebody that knows an assembly member that might be able to offer an amendment to that particular bill. Oh, he's on the call, Brad West from the Office of Assembly Member Cervantes. Hi, Brad. Any updates on your end?
Yes, actually, let me pull real quick. So for those of you who might not know, the state's rental assistance program, it's closing its application tomorrow. So if you know of anybody who's been procrastinating on that and needs to apply, they need to submit their application by the end of day tomorrow. Last month, our office hosted a rental assistance mortgage relief town hall. Went really well. We answered a lot of questions from the community. But one question kept popping up over and over again that was outside of the purview of that event. And that topic was home ownership. A lot of event participants were wondering what are the first steps that they need to take to make that big step and own a home. So we're actually going to be partnering with Senator Richard Roth's office, Assemblymember Jose Medina's office, on Riverside County Fair Housing Council to host a first-time home buyers workshop. And that's going to be on April 12th from 6:30 to 7:30. This is going to be a great introductory workshop and trying to get people to attend the longer workshop that they hold regularly. That's actually HUD certified. So we're really excited for this event. Once we have the flyer and everything ready to go, I'll make sure to send it your way.
Great. Thank you, Brad. Appreciate that. Before I kick it off to our mayor, I just want to recognize Peppermint Ridge. Danny's on the call again. Thank you again for participating. Real quick, you guys have something coming up, don't you?
We have a gala this Saturday. So if anybody really wants to go, give me a call and I'll sneak you in. We also have our silent auction online. You can go onto the Peppermint Ridge website. Again, all proceeds go to support our wonderful folks at the Peppermint Ridge. Thanks so much, Jeff.
My pleasure, Danny. If you can go ahead and just put the information in the chat, folks will have a place to actually read about it and click on some links. Mr. Mayor, Westpeak, Mayor of Corona, welcome.
Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it. Thanks for making time. It's always, I don't know whether or not every morning on a Wednesday if I'm going to be able to make the call, because I do have a meeting that happens at the same time. But today it was canceled, so I was able to join. Let's see, just things to cover. We had a study session last week when we talked a little bit about the permanent supportive housing that is coming on the west side of Corona, the old Heiress Hotel on frontage. That project is a county and state project. It's gone through Project Home Key, which is I think it's 52 rooms that'll be fully funded by the county grant. I think 1.9 million and another 10 million from the or 10.2 million from the state that will provide homeless, basically formerly homeless, disabled folks that are Corona residents, former Corona residents, to get a place for them off the street. We're pretty excited about it. I think that project will get started here pretty soon. I think they're having their escrow close immediately. This is full wraparound support, so it's basically not just a warehousing for folks. We're not just sticking people in a hotel and hoping for the best. It's Riverside County is going to have their behavioral health assessments. Going to be have an office there. We're going to have full-time security, full-time management of the building itself, and there's a bunch of regulations to ensure. We've been kind of slowly getting information out, because we didn't know it was actually a done deal until just a couple weeks ago when they were officially awarded the money. So we're we did our second actual town hall, our rollout of information and let people ask questions. And I thought it went really well. We got a lot of support from the community. I know that folks are a little apprehensive, but it's a way to solve a problem. It's one of the things that people tell us quite a bit, that what can you do about the homeless? And frankly, this is a place that we can take the ones that are the most hard to reintroduce into society. So between our homeless shelter opening up at the end of the year on Harrison Street, which will also have wraparound services with mental health and physical and dental, have a place for folks that have to get out of the hospital. Our transitional housing over on 5th Street that we're slowly getting back units from the old operator, and this permanent supportive housing. I think we're going to have all three pieces that we need to really make a dent in our homeless population. And start being able to enforce our anti-camping laws and get these folks off of our businesses' doorsteps downtown and create a dent, so we can make life better for everybody. Let me think, what else? Had a nice tour yesterday of the wastewater treatment plant in Eastvale. That was pretty neat and pretty interesting to see that kind of compared against our wastewater treatment plant. I'm very proud of both, and it looks like it's going well. They're doing an expansion and doing some air quality and smell odor reduction issues. Significant investment, but it should work out pretty well. And then just want to give a little plug for the state of the city, the business state of the city on the 22nd, right, Bobby? Yes, 22nd.
It'll be very business focused. We're going to have our regular State of the City on the 14th. That'll be at the Historic Civic Center, and then this one will be a little more business focused. And please bring questions. You know how much I love them. That's it. That's all I got. Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you, Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Appreciate everything you do. I'd like to kick it over to, well, I want to thank Sam, the Corona Regional Medical Center CEO, for being on the call. I don't know if he has any updates. And then I know we're running a little long and we're starting to lose folks, but I want to acknowledge Vic from the City of Hope. I don't know if there's any quick update you have, Vic, that you want to announce.
Yeah, first we're going to go to Sam and then to Vic, okay?
Sam?
I'll make mine quick. I just want to invite everybody on the call to our open house that we're having on Friday, April 8th from 7:30 a.m. till 8:30 a.m. You can stop in any time between that time. We are showcasing our Da Vinci surgical robot. You get a chance not only to see it, but to operate the robot and see how it works. So we're inviting all our community leaders. It is at Corona Regional. It's in our conference center at the corner of 9th and Bell.
Sam, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and email out that flyer to everyone on the call. Anthony will do that. This is not like you have to be there the entire hour. It's come in and visit, kind of operate the robot and go about your business, ask questions of Sam and his leadership up there. Pretty exciting, all the state-of-the-art stuff that Sam and his team are bringing to Corona. Thank you.
Sam, are the COVID cases declining still?
Yeah, yesterday and this morning, we only have 1 cases left in the house, none in ICU.
Fantastic. Man, oh man. Finally, we're turning this corner. Okay, with that, I'm just going to recognize a few folks that are on the call, and I'll get you guys out of here. I appreciate your patience. We had a lot to cover today, and I want to recognize Annette DeMont from the Riverside County Office of Education. Hi, Annette. Monica Green was on, the president of Norco College. Dr. Tim Gramling was on, who is the dean of the School of Business at Cal Baptist. I recognize Vic and Sam. Obviously, Brad West from the Office of Assembly Member Cervantes' office. Former mayor, former council member Jason Scott. Thank you, Jason, for coming on. Obviously, our mayor, Wes Speak. And lastly, from the fine city of Wildemar, Kimberly Davidson. So thank you all. Again, continue to lift up the folks in Ukraine in our prayers. Hopefully we can get this ended and resolved quickly. With that, I'll let everybody go make money, and the meeting is adjourned. Have a good week, everybody.
Thank you so much, Jeff. Take care.